Hi everyone, I'm a Chinese descendant born in North Korea. Since my videos keep getting removed, today I want to share my story about being born in North Korea and give a brief overview of the Chinese expatriate community there. Some people still question my identity, so let me clarify my roots. Historical records show that before the division of Korea, there were over 50,000 Chinese expatriates living on the peninsula, most of them arriving during the Japanese occupation. According to my grandmother, the social hierarchy back then was clear: the Japanese were first-class citizens, Koreans were second, and Chinese came last. Behind their backs, Chinese would call the Japanese ghosts and Koreans bastards. Over time, though, Koreans understood that a bastard was derogatory, so Chinese expats began calling them bangsi, a play on words that softened the insult by relating it to corn, which grows sideways and is eaten horizontally. My great-grandfather came to Pyongyang in 1921 as the eldest son, seeking opportunities because there were many siblings in his family. Back then, Korea was still one country, and there was no north or south divide. My maternal grandparents' families also settled in North Korea around the same time, opening a Chinese restaurant in a small town. This was during the Japanese occupation of Korea, and my family made a life there. In the 1960s, my grandfather also moved to North Korea, becoming part of the expatriate community that had already put down roots. I'm part of the fourth generation of Chinese living in North Korea, and likely one of the last. Our presence, once significant, is now dwindling. My grandmother lived through the Japanese occupation and the Korean War. She and her sisters hid in rice fields to escape the bombs dropped by both sides. As relations between North Korea and China soured over time, many Chinese were forced to choose between giving up their Chinese nationality or facing harsh restrictions. Life in North Korea is a sensitive topic, but according to my grandparents, the pressures of daily survival were immense. I've heard stories of my grandparents trembling as they were asked to sign papers to voluntarily give up Chinese nationality. They resisted and kept their citizenship. When North Korea's supply system collapsed, many Chinese expats turned to cross-border trade with China, selling goods like hair dye and trading Japanese-made Seiko and Omega watches for Chinese furniture and home appliances. It was a difficult life, but they made it work. As the generations passed, Chinese expatriates' ties to their cultural roots started to fade. Though there were Chinese schools, by the third generation, most of us spoke Chinese with a heavy Shandong accent mixed with Korean intonations. The younger generation, including those with good academic performance, began studying in Chinese universities. Many Chinese expatriates returned to China, particularly after the 2000s, but living without household registration caused many challenges. Looking back, it's sad to think that the rich history of Chinese expatriates in North Korea may soon be forgotten. Unlike Chinese communities in Southeast Asia or South Korea, which have preserved their heritage, the story of Chinese in North Korea since 1950 remains largely undocumented. I worry that when my grandparents' generation passes away, no one will be able to tell the story of where we came from or how we survived the twists and turns of history. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe. Once I hit 5,000 subscribers, I'll host a live Q&A about life in North Korea. I'm Chern, bringing you the real story of life in North Korea.